Hey, everybody. We are here, the entire Paydirt content team, for a very special edition of our Slate Talk. This is going to be our Thanksgiving Slate Roundtable. I am one of the hosts of The Bakery with Tribe. My name is Jason O. I'm joined by Tribe, Hess, Nick, Pablo, and Ryan. Everybody here covers a bunch of different sports, but we all like to get into the NFL streets. So we're excited to break down this slate and, go over the games and position by position, what we need to do to win.
Yep.
All right. Thanks, Jason. So for those of you who are expecting a very game theory heavy talk the way we usually do it, this is going to be a little bit more fun. It's Thanksgiving, and so we reserve the right to fuck around a little bit. Maybe even find out while we're at it. So just high level, we have I'm underrated funny, by the way. Jason's already fucking laughing.
No, I'm laughing because I just want to know how long you had that in the chamber. Like, did you?
No, dude, I just made that up. That was fucking,
did you write? Were you like taking a shower? You're like, wow, this is gonna sound really good.
That was just. You're gonna see. You're gonna laugh a little bit. You're gonna laugh a little bit. You're gonna laugh a little bit. So, 3 games tomorrow. Thanksgiving slate. We got Detroit, Green Bay, 48.5 total. Detroit favored away. Green Bay home dogs. We got KC at Dallas, 52-point total, pretty high, even outside of a 3-gamer, pretty high total. And then we got the late game, Cincinnati at Baltimore, 51.5-point total. A few just basic high-level things for those of you who have not played a lot of smaller slates or Thanksgiving slates. These games have a lot of casual players. So, I think sometimes you don't need to be quite as crazy if you just play DFS somewhat regularly and understand leverage concepts. I think you can have a bit more of an edge than on bigger slates where you have tougher players. Ownership tends to condense. Late swap, Gordy's made the point a few times. Late swap is very valuable on these 3 gamers where you've got a game starting at 1 o'clock and then a game starting at 8:20 p.m. that same day. And you can play before somebody asks it. Yes, you can play offensive players against your defense. Like, think about this as very similar to Showdown. It's Showdown sort of on steroids. So before we get into the slate itself and some of the plays, I want your guys' take. Why does the Thanksgiving slate fuck, or why does it suck? I'm going to tell you, I think it fucks because number one, it gives you something to focus on when you're with family, and it's a good reprieve from that annoying uncle such as myself. And 2, I think there's edge. I think there's edge, and I think it's winnable. So, but maybe you guys disagree. So how do you guys feel about Thanksgiving slate overall? Why do you think it fucks or sucks?
If no one's going to go, I was going to wait. But, I always liked watching Calvin Johnson score 4 touchdowns and burn me every year for my entire childhood. You feel like you 80% own Calvin Johnson every year and 1 year pay off, and then watch him catch 4 touchdowns every time. So, that was always a great time as far as I'm concerned.
I think for the reasons you mentioned, it fucks. I mean, we're spending day with family. I'm going to spend like a good portion of the day making food, getting ready, and then afternoon comes and I'm just going to get planted. I'm going to watch Patrick Mahomes throw for 300 yards. I'm going to have 0 shares. And then I'm going to register in the 2-gamer right after.
Thanks, baby.
No, I mean, dude, it's a lot of food, a lot of football. I love it. I do like that some of the ownership will condense. So I think you made that point as well.
Kiki, you're a hater? I saw you kind of like shake your head a little bit.
Well, this one I don't think is too bad, actually. But I have not liked them very much in the past. I think the only reason that I have not liked them so much in the past is I think they got pretty linear. Like the good plays are like fairly limited, but like this time at least we have a few tight ends, so like at least we have like some variant roster constructions that we can use. Like I don't think this slate is not too bad. I mean, it's the best Thanksgiving slate I can remember.
Yeah.
And I get to lose more money on the Bengals. I can't hate that.
You're gonna have them in your back pocket all day, just waiting for that late hammer Bengal sack, and then you get so excited, and then we'll see what happens.
Oh yeah, I'm very excited for all my Mitchell Tinsley and Charlie Jones.
Tribe, what do you think? Because when we're on the bakery every week, you're very sensitive to price always, right? And you and I always try to find that one pivot where it's like, all right, we don't know why anybody's playing this person when you could just play this person. So what are your thoughts on this slate?
So for this specific slate, there are some amazing pivots on this specific slate because people, I don't know what people are drinking or smoking or popping, right? In general, I've never been a huge fan of the Thanksgiving Day slates, just as a fan. But part of that is just because Detroit has been a terrible team for most of my adult life. So being forced to watch them as a tradition on national television every year was just torture. It's how I feel the British must feel with us sending over the Jacksonville Jaguars every year to London. But they've gotten better. I don't know if it's the schedule because it is the same thing, right? It's always Lions and Cowboys on Thanksgiving, but they've added this third game, right? Because if you're old enough, it was never 3 games. It used to be legit just 2 games. So the third game has provided some better matchups and better teams over the years since they've instituted that. And then just in general, I think Detroit has just been better. Dallas has guys. Whether or not, as a team they've been better is debatable, but they've at least had fantasy relevant players. And just in general, the matchups have been better. So I'm with it. Get to chill out on the couch after eating, and I'm in a food coma just watching the games, hopefully winning some money. It's a good time, especially going into Black Friday. That's the greatest feeling, right? I got 4 kids, man. I got to buy mad gifts, right? So that feeling of I want some money. Tomorrow's Black Friday. Boom, we good.
Yeah.
Get all the
Tribe, if you just wanted to tell people that you fuck, you could have just said that. That's okay.
I mean, I
had to bring on the man himself who is joining us before he has a trek to the in-laws or wherever he's going for the holiday season. James, how are we?
I'm good. I was gonna come on and first say Tribe doesn't have to say that he fucks. He has 7 kids, man. He's got proof.
Literally true.
Yeah, literal proof. I just wanted to come on really quick and say happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I had to finish up the article, but we do have to drive 4 hours to Missouri to go to the family Thanksgiving stuff, so I won't be able to stay for the whole time. But I wanted to give some quick thoughts before you guys get into it because I really just have a couple focuses, and then you guys can do your thing. So first off, my big focus is the Kansas City Dallas game. I think that's the most important game I'm going to focus on. I don't really like Cincinnati, Baltimore all that much. I don't really like Green Bay, Detroit all that much. I just think the Kansas City, Dallas is just the upside game. Second thing, I'm going to lock Jamar Chase tomorrow. I don't really think that there's any reason to fade him, even with what I assume to be a gimpy Joe Burrow. He's going to have 14 targets, and I think that for the opportunity cost, that's totally fine. And then the other main thing that I wanted to do was just say, there's an absolute chance that Keaton Mitchell breaks this slate for some stupid fucking reason. So I would not go past the idea of especially in MME, just spraying and praying at running back. I don't think any running back is absolutely vital on the slate. I think you can just kind of do whatever you want to do. So yeah, those are my very condensed thoughts. Kansas Dallas game for the focus, Jamar Chase locked, running back roulette, and that's pretty much all I got. So does anybody have objections?
I actually disagree with you.
Well, fuck you guys. Anyway, what were you going to say, Paul?
I was going to ask you about Thanksgiving, but because we can't have you on and not get a spicy James take. Can you give us your most overrated and underrated Thanksgiving food?
Oh,
underrated
yeah.
And overrated. Underrated,
okay.
Overrated.
All right. So the most underrated, the dark meat from the turkey. I think that's
America's answer.
Yep. Dark meat for the turkey is a good answer there for underrated. It's not necessarily that it's incredible. It's just that people think it's trash, and it's not. It's pretty good. Most overrated is stuffing. I don't like soggy bread. I just don't like soggy bread. Like I like rolls and I like cake, but man, I don't like soggy bread with vegetables in it. Like that's it's just not my thing. So those are my things. Also, really quick shout out. Cranberry sauce is weird. I don't understand it.
Amen, brother. Amen. I don't fucking get it. I don't fucking get it at all.
I don't get it. So those are my things. Anyway, I gotta go because I have to go like pack everything up and go. But I will try to join on the road if you guys are still going in like 20 minutes. All right.
Great.
All right. I mean, I want you to focus on that road though, James. So like, be
He's not
safe.
driving. He's gonna be
acting
trying
as
to
if I drive.
I don't know. I don't know. Hashtag how rich he's got.
I'm a passenger princess. Are you kidding me? I take care of everything else. Margaret can drive. All right, I gotta go. Talk to you guys later.
All right,
James.
800 on the rental.
All right. Before we move on to start with quarterback for a minute, any hot takes on Thanksgiving food? Anything you guys think is massively overrated?
I will start.
Casserole is fire.
I will tell you, I think I'm going to get a lot of hate for this. I don't care. The most overrated thing at Thanksgiving is the fucking turkey because nobody knows how to cook it. People don't know how to season it. It's the most bland thing on the planet. I personally, I mean, in New York, we're a little bit different because, everybody's got a cousin who's an uncle who's, owns an Italian restaurant. So we get some other proteins in there. But the most underrated by far, if you get a good mac and cheese on Thanksgiving, that hits. That hits better than anything.
Have you had the Popeye's turkey, Jason?
Popeye's turkey? No.
You should do that before you ever say that again. I'm telling you guys, the Popeye's turkey is like the craziest, best like Thanksgiving turkey that's ever been made.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
I'm gonna give you my underrated, and I don't even know that this is underrated in the sense that people don't think it's good. I just don't think people think it's good enough, and that is sweet potato casserole with marshmallows.
Oh, get out of here!
That shit it's unbelievable.
It's fire. I think it's underrated, and I think going along with the turkey, mashed potatoes, I think are way overvalued. I'm seeing a lot of positive leverage on other sides where the field is just overrating mashed up potatoes, like very low in flavor. If you have to dump gravy on top of it, the same as turkey, like why wasn't it good enough to begin with? You have to ladle sauce on top of it.
This is why you're sharp as fuck, Ryan. This is why you're sharp. This is why.
Yeah, and I'm agreeing with you, so that's why you're backing me up here. But I think there's a correlation between turkey and mashed potatoes, and I think Pablo's over here saying run a mini of sweet potato casserole, and I'm there for it. I like the brown sugar. I like the sweetness.
Oh, so good. It's like dessert as part of the main dessert part of the main course.
Yeah, why wait?
So first of all, Pablo calling candied yams a casserole is egregious. One. Jason O saying mac and cheese is underrated is wild. Listen, mac and cheese and candied yams are what Black Thanksgiving is built around. Like those are the two. Like F the turkey. Like it's built around.
I know.
Candied yams
I'm saying
mac
they
and
should
cheese.
be more of a focal point. They should be more of a focal point.
Now, my overrated pumpkin pie. Pumpkin pie is trash. Get out of here.
Love that.
You only eat it once a year, Tribe.
Agreed.
Underrated.
Why you only eat it once a year?
Exactly.
Same with turkey.
Ooh. Underrated, Tribe. Go ahead.
Oh man.
Tribe, if I had called it candied yams instead of sweet potato casserole with marshmallow, would you have agreed with my take?
That is underrated?
Yeah. It sounds like in Black culture Twitter, in Black culture Thanksgiving, it's appropriately rated there. You're saying it's a foundational.
The market sees it.
Maybe I'm talking about white Thanksgiving. In white Thanksgiving, I think it's underrated.
So that means underrated. Oh man, I guess I'm gonna go with like the actual green vegetables, like any type of green vegetables, whether like it's your collard greens. I know some people do like the green bean thing, like the string beans. I feel like the green vegetables, especially if you season them with like some smoked turkey necks or whatever, underrated part of the Thanksgiving meal. And real quick, I just want to give like a life hack because it is the day before Thanksgiving. So this is particularly for any of my melanated folks out there watching. Listen, if you were slacking and you got to go tonight, or you have to go tomorrow morning to get some last minute things, as evidenced here by this conversation, go to the grocery store in the white area of your city. I promise you they will have everything that you need fully in stock.
And lastly,
That's
what
pretty
about
sharp.
you, Nick? What about you, Nick? Underrated?
You haven't
overrated?
been, Tribe. You haven't been to LA recently, have you?
I don't even. LA is doing like they got like vegan tacos
in
for
stock.
Thanksgiving. I don't want to know what the hell LA is
Get
doing.
the fuck out of here with in stock, okay? Like these, like nobody in LA cooks.
Are you allowed to have Thanksgiving? Does LA allow?
Right, I'm pretty sure you're canceled in LA.
Isn't it like outlawed because it's somehow subversive towar's the settlers?
Why do you think I'm in another state? Like, I mean, look, I had a turkey from Erewhon last holiday. Like, that's the most like
Hashtag how rich.
It's the most like egregious thing. Like, it was unbelievable. It's the best turkey I've ever had. But you need a mortgage to get that. Like, but God. Yeah, okay. So, underrated. Pablo said sweet potato casserole. I'm not going to say sweet potato casserole. I'm just going to say candied yams as a whole.
Thanks.
Sweet potato doesn't need to be a casserole. Okay, that's just it's doing too much. All right. And there's like one thing in the world that adding marshmallow to makes it better, and this is not hot chocolate. So, and then the overvalued one, I'm gonna try and give an answer that somebody hasn't. Green bean casserole.
I actually said it was underrated personally, but
I think it's overrated.
You know what? No. I know where Nick's coming from, because like coming from the Midwest, right? We have some Minnesota ties there. Mm-hmm. Midwest green bean casserole is trash.
Yeah, it's
matter
bad.
of fact, any casserole from the Midwest is trash. So I understand. Get that tater tot hot dish out of my face.
Yeah, most of it's bad. Most of it's bad. So, yeah, right. And then I had something else, but I forgot. So,
all right, tell us when you get to it. All right, let's move to quarterback. So, Jason, do you want to pull up the range of outcomes or somebody?
Yeah, absolutely. Hold on 1 second. I got it.
So moving on to quarterbacks before we get our takes in, we have pretty strong chalk condensing on Mahomes. Mahomes and Lamar are going to be by far the highest owned quarterbacks. We're talking about DraftKings, even though FanDuel, from a game theory standpoint, is a better site this year. I'll leave that there. But we're going to focus at DraftKings. Mahomes and Lamar will lead ownership. Everybody else is significantly less owned. What's interesting about these, when we look at a range of outcomes, is that Mahomes on every site, including ours, has a very, very strong range in a game with a very high total against a Dallas team that has gotten in multiple shootouts. But when you go to stacks, Dak and even some other stacks are sort of close in terms of range of outcomes, and I think that matters, right? Because we're not just playing, especially in a 3-gamer, you're not really just looking at the quarterback. You're looking at the quarterback with his weapons, and so I think it's suffice it to say for small field, Mahomes will become pretty chalky. Like he'll be pushing, I'd say, 40 to 50% in small field. I think Dak is a fairly easy pivot in that game, especially given you have easy guys to pair him with in Pickens and Lamb. And then it's just a matter of how weird you want to get after that. But let's get your guys' takes on quarterback / stacks this week. I'm kind of with James on focusing on Dallas KC. The only issue with that is for somebody who's kind of contrarian in James, that's kind of a chalk dog take. I mean, the Kansas City Dallas game is the game everybody's going to fucking focus on, right? Like it's Dallas. Everybody attacks Dallas every game. They're the Columbus Blue Jackets of the NFL. But that's a hockey.
Yeah. That's I feel like that's your equivalent of giving somebody like an "I Love Lucy" reference, and like no one of this generation.
Nick appreciated it.
It's like stacking against the Rockies.
I got
in MLB DFS.
But for the for quarterbacks first, we'll start with Hess because he has to get out of here a little bit earlier. Hess, what are you thinking about quarterbacks?
So Dallas was my favorite stack as well. But like I also my second favorite stack, I think it's gonna be like pretty off the wall with everybody else. It's like I really like Green Bay stacks. I think people don't like them because you don't know who to pair them with. But like Christian Watson is like got a ton of air yards and stuff over the last couple of weeks. Devontae Wicks has been getting some stuff, and like he's got some deep targets. He's really cheap. I feel like getting the right receivers with that, it's like a really good spot that a lot of people aren't going to play, and then it also is like cheap enough to pay up at a lot of different spots. So like I think like Green Bay is probably like my strong number 2.
Makes sense. It makes sense. Let's go to Tribe. What are you thinking at quarterback stacks?
Yeah, like I don't think the Mahomes chalk, right? With that, I don't think his ceiling is significantly higher than any other quarterback on the slate. I actually feel like every single quarterback on the slate has the exact same range of outcomes, particularly because Lamar just isn't running this year like he has been in years past. So that being said, I have no idea why I would play 35% own Mahomes over Jared Goff, Joe Burrow, or Dak Prescott when they're essentially all of the same range of outcomes play. And I do love the Jordan Love call. He's going to significantly low owned. So are his receivers. Like, I like that Green Bay side. We just saw Detroit get lit up by Jameis and Wandale. So, yeah.
That makes sense. What about you, Nick? What are you thinking?
Bengals.
I shouldn't even fucking ask you.
Every week, like
low chart,
okay,
baby.
Yep. It hasn't worked yet, but look, a stop clock is right at least once a day. So, I mean, look. So if you just look at the board here, and you just think about this from a very simplistic perspective, 2 points. Okay, so who is the receiver with the highest ceiling? Chase. Okay. Who is the team that is most likely to be trailing? The Bengals. Like the quarterback, Joe Burrow is cheap. Like, you know, people were winning million makers with 7,000 Joe Burrow for like the last year before he got hurt. Now he's 6,000 against this Baltimore pass defense that's just been getting shredded all year.
Yeah,
and you have a great correlated piece in Derrick Henry. Like if Derrick Henry shreds them for a drive, then the Bengals punt, then Derrick Henry shreds them again, then the game is off to the races. Like, yeah, the Ravens are slow, and I understand that drawback, and yes, that's a problem, but like. The Bengals are the most likely to be behind, and if you asked me which quarterback is most likely to have the most pass attempts on this slate, I would still go with Joe Burrow. Like,
no, that makes sense.
Like, you know, and then I mean, yeah, people are going to play, and then there's the mystery of okay, who's the second receiver? So like you got normally it'd be like, yeah, you got to try and figure this out, and like, but it's a 3-game slate. Like, Gesicki will be the popular guy. You can also go to the other tight end. Noah Fant's playing, right? He doesn't get hurt.
Yeah,
he's playing.
You can also play Chase Brown if you want. We'll get to running backs in a minute.
If you want to go to Noah Fant, like that's fine. Like, I mean, they got a bunch of homeless guys playing across from Jamar Chase. Like, the Ravens probably won't even defend them. Like there's no reason to. Like, they'll just put 3 guys on Chase and let, you know, Shoeless Joe or whoever is on the other side, like, just do your worst. Like, so you could go with, and I don't even know how owned these guys are going to be. I haven't really looked at ownership, but I can't imagine that Charlie Jones and Mitchell Tinsley are gonna get a heck of a lot of ownership on this.
I really like Mitch Tinsley this week, by the way.
I really wish Burton was playing.
Yeah,
that was the guy that I really wanted to play, but apparently he's done in Cincinnati.
Jason, how about you?
And then the last point is Chase Brown. I would imagine is going to be chalk.
Yeah,
I would guess he's going to be very popular. So
yeah, we'll get to running back in a minute, but the chalk in running back is pretty predictable.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so for me, it's going to be very, very simple here. I just want to think about what quarterback is probably going to be trailing the most, and to me, it's probably the Bengals in large field tournaments. I do like the Dallas side against Kansas City as well. I don't think Kansas City has faced a strong enough passing attack that's really tested them, and I do like the Green Bay call also. There's a very real possibility that if Detroit can stop the run there and put up some points early, Jordan Love's going to be forced to throw. They play a ton of man coverage. They have some guys that really shred that. So that's what I'm thinking. And last but not least, Ryan, what are your thoughts at quarterback?
Yeah, so starting with Dallas really stood out to me. They have a higher passing implied touchdown total than any other team on this slate, including just slightly higher than the Chiefs. So that was really attractive to me. And I think, having Pickens at 7K, having Lamb at 6.9, and people being really down on Lamb recently, I think provides somewhat of an opportunity too. KC's not great in the secondary against the passing game, so that's a pretty decent matchup. I'm really interested in Green Bay as well. Especially if Matthew Golden was out, it just helps us to condense that target tree a little bit more. I have to take a look, but I don't think Luke Musgrave was really getting overwhelming work where I felt like I had to pair him. And I just, the past couple of weeks, Dobbs and Watson have been between 20 and 30% of target share. So I really like that, being able to, and that would also help to flip the build too, by taking some of the cheaper quarterback. Then you're pairing it with, your stack is so much cheaper. It's going to be a much different path than if you have Mahomes and Rice as your starting point. So I'm really interested in that. And I think the other part about the Bengals that's really interesting is how condensed their target tree as well, with Chase and Gesicki, the trailing game state. I think you guys nailed that. I gave some thought to Baltimore too, and I know we haven't really talked about it, but I'm kind of on the fence of, they have the nut matchup against the Bengals. The Bengals defense is just terrible. Jackson historically has been great. Pretty easy to pair that with pass catchers. With this version of the Ravens offense has been really underwhelming. So trying to reconcile those two things between the matchup and how efficient that offense is going to be is a little bit tough to sort of reconcile. So I'm kind of still thinking through that. But yeah, I gave some thought to that as well. I think Green Bay, Dallas, and Cincy were my primary stacks.
Okay. So heading to the running back position too, I know Pablo mentioned that this is a little bit easier to predict. Hess, what are you going to do at running back this week? I know you're Mr. Off the Wall, Quinshawn Junkins, when he was 2% owned in spots earlier this year. So what are you doing at running back?
I think I'm just keeping it really simple this week at running back. I feel like, we have a couple of plays that, like I called out the Kareem Hunt play last week, and like that worked really well. And I feel like I do that a lot, but like I truly feel like Derrick Henry and Jahmyr Gibbs are like the best plays at running back this week. I do think something that's really interesting though in a 3-game slate is to pair Gibbs and Montgomery together. That's like kind of something that I've thought about, just playing both lines running backs and like calling it a day, saying that like the game doesn't shoot out. Gibbs might catch some passes, Montgomery scores a touchdown or two, and like that would be, I think, as far as like off the wall things that like I feel like I'm looking at the most this week.
Gotcha. Okay, what about you, Pablo? What are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, this is a little bit off brand for me, to be honest with you, but I am very, very tempted to fade Gibbs this week. I think that Gibbs is unbelievable. He's like designed to be sort of the prototypical fantasy player, huge breakout every game. I mean, I played him last week and he won me some money, but I think he's going to be so steamed coming off that game last week, and a matchup that is okay, but not great. I mean, I think Green Bay is taking this game very seriously. Division matchup, obviously, Micah Parsons. I don't think the Green Bay defense is terrible. So Derrick Henry's, I think, good chalk, and I will eat it. And then I'm going to be debating between really Jacobs, Brown, Javonte, and probably Demont as sort of my second guy. I don't feel the need to play a 3 running back build this week. I'm perfectly happy to play 2 running backs and either go double tight end or another receiver at the flex. I think if you don't play Gibbs, It opens up a lot of salary. As somebody who probably will lean heavily into KC, Dallas, probably from both sides of that game, I'm looking to give myself a little bit of flexibility to be creative around what will likely be more owned plays in that game. And by getting by not playing Gibbs, I think I allow myself then the ability to do that. So my take is I'll probably eat Henry, and then I'll debate between Jacobs, Brown, Javonte, theoretically Kareem Hunt, although I'm not very interested in him, and then David Montgomery. I think David Montgomery is like the guy that I think Gordy's like he's the easiest guy to make fit, but like 4,800, God, that's cheap for him in this game. I mean, like especially if you're not playing Gibbs, so you're kind of getting the double whammy leverage there, where you're sort of saying, not only am I not playing Gibbs, I think DeMont gets there. It kind of works. So I think I like DeMont maybe a little bit more than the field does. Admittedly, he hasn't shown much ceiling, and Gibbs has gotten a ton more play than he has in the last few games.
That makes sense. What about you, Tribe? What are you thinking about running backs this week?
So the way that James felt about Jamar Chase is the way I feel about Jahmyr Gibbs. I don't think there's a single running back on the slate that has his ceiling. So I'm just going to lock the highest ceiling running back on the slate and figure it out.
I like that.
I mean, like all the other guys like are obviously all in play. Like Derrick Henry, Chase Brown, Josh Jacobs, Javonte Williams. Javonte Williams is probably my least favorite of that group. I think Kansas City's run defense is like legitimate, and I think they take him out of the game and force. I think we do get a shootout in that game, which a lot of people think that. That's why that game is going to be so popular. So that's probably my least favorite of that group. But for me, I'm just sticking to like the knowns. I'm not dumpster diving down here and like maybe this is going to be the Brashard Smith game, or what if Emmanuel Wilson still gets there with Josh Jacobs? But like, there's just no need to do any of that. I mean, the Keaton Mitchell play with Justice Hill out, I can see that because like just of how run heavy Baltimore is, especially if you think they get out to a lead. If that game like goes off the rails for the Bengals, you could see him get some increased touches. So as a last guy in, particularly like when you start thinking about late swap opportunities and stuff, I could see myself like getting there possibly, but that would more likely be something I'd late swap onto as opposed to something I'm like getting to in my initial build.
Makes sense. What about you, Nick? What are you going to do at running back?
Let me pull up the running back ownership here real quick.
While he's doing that, something I just wanted to say real quick is that Jahmyr Gibbs, the last 3 games, Dan Campbell took over play calling, and in that time, he's averaging like 8 targets a game on top of everything else. And like, I feel like just that more emphasis we saw on him, I like agree with Tribe where like I think Gibbs for me is like a lock. Like I'd rather play Gibbs than Chase, which is like kind of crazy. But
yeah, I mean, kind of my original thesis for this slate was that I want to play Gibbs and I want to play Henry. I really, really don't think that Green Bay wants this game to be a shootout. Like that offense, when they move the ball, they are so slow. They just want to grind the game down to nothing and play football like it's 1920. So I really do like Jacobs. Like if Jacobs gets going, like he could pretty easily nerf the entire Lions offense.
Yeah.
Like where everybody on the Lions could just be dead. Like, so if I'm not playing Gibbs, Jacobs is probably my third choice. And I'll put Chase Brown into some of my Bengals stacks too. Like, fine. Like I'm gonna have enough of them to where like, yeah, I gotta cover that base. But principally, it's gonna be those 3 guys for me: Henry, Jacobs, Gibbs.
Makes
I
sense.
think Kareem Hunt is fine, also, but he's still Kareem Hunt.
And we also got Pacheco back this week too. He's playing, so that's another aspect. All
Yeah.
right, Ryan. What about you? Running back thoughts?
Yeah, so I was taking a look at the Paydirt projections before, and I was seeing how Henry really didn't have a good 4X on his projection. And for his price at 7,300, I also ran the contest sims, which are showing him as being the most over-owned of any of the skill position players. Now, I was also matching that with what I was seeing with my eyes. I don't know how much Ravens football we've seen recently. I mean, they're not last week against the Jets. They weren't on red zone a ton, but my eyes are telling me Derrick Henry looks a lot slower. Yep. And that offense in general looks less efficient. And when that offense, like when we've seen ceiling games from Henry, and at 7,300, you need a pretty good point total because he's going up against Chase and Gibbs. I haven't seen anything to me that indicates that level of confidence in Henry. I know it's the Bengals, but I didn't want to go in and confirm my beliefs about it. I've just had this I've been like, oh my gosh, Henry looks terrible. He's so slow. They're not getting any push behind the line, on the line, and he just looks like he's plodding. So I think I'm going to play Henry in my Bengals stack, where there's a scenario where they're pounding the ball and Bengals get there trying to catch up. But otherwise, I think I'm really more interested in Gibbs, Chase, and some other variations here with the running backs. I am interested in Montgomery. I mean, at 4,800, he doesn't need to smash to get there. So I think that's my big sort of approach to running back, is I think Henry is over-owned compared to his price, his projection, and what I've seen recently with his eyes. So that might be really painful tomorrow. I know he's going to be like 50% owned. Maybe that's a donkey play, but I think the projections are supporting that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, for me, I'll go quick to a running back. For me, I'm probably going to make a simple rule. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is obviously game script proof, but in any sort of lineup that I'm going to play Josh Jacobs, I'm just not going to play Gibbs with him. I do think Javonte Williams, I don't think he's going to come in as high as he is here. I think that's going to be a little bit more flatter come tomorrow. I don't know if you guys watched that game last week, but he had like 4 to 5 carries inside the 5, and they just didn't hand it off to him again. I think that he's the type of play that can go 50 to 60 yards on the ground, and he could punch 3 in an elite game environment. So I look at Javonte Williams as a way that you could spell that. Jahmyr Gibbs, I'm probably going to have a lot of, but I do worry about a divisional opponent that has game scripted him out in the past. I know that that's a little, chasing outcome issue of me, but I do worry about that. And one other point I'm going to give, and this is why, Derrick Henry to me, granted the matchup is really good. We have seen running backs fail on this matchup the last 2 weeks. I totally agree with Ryan. I said that to Tribe the last couple of weeks on the show. I think Derrick Henry looks like absolute dog shit. But besides that, if let's say the Bengals come out, they have Joe Burrow, and what happens if they come out quick and just take a shit on Baltimore, go up by 2 scores quickly? Derrick Henry's useless, right? He's useless at that point. So to me, I actually have a lot of interest, large field only, in Keaton Mitchell, from the thought process of, if the Bengals get an early lead, I just don't see how they really lean on Derrick Henry as much. Could he still get there? Yeah, and raw points matter on the slate more than a ceiling outcome, because there's only 3 games. But I do think that that's a way you can really leverage that chalk, play a Burrow stack, and use Keaton Mitchell in hopes that they just go up early on them. They're going to be inspired too.
Here's where I think I'm most different than many of you, and I'm just going to say it. I think the Bengals are one of the worst teams in football.
They are.
They are fucking horrendous. And I think Baltimore is going to just completely beat the fuck out of them. I think that they're rushing Burrow back in a game where they're basically already eliminated from the playoffs. They have no offensive line. I would be unsurprised if Burrow gets hurt again within the first or second quarter. I think their defense is so bad that we have seen multiple teams just absolutely go crazy against them. Basically, tight ends are an autoplay against them every week. They can't cover a tight end. That's been a thing for 2, 3 years now against them. And I get it from an ownership standpoint, and I get it from a large field standpoint, because I think a lot of people feel that way about Cincinnati. But I just want to point out that I don't disagree. Derrick Henry has looked slow and old this year. Baltimore as a whole has not been good on offense. I just feel like this Cincinnati team is fucking done. I mean, now, to be fair, this is their last gasp to try to stay somewhat relevant this year. I mean, they're literally fully eliminated if they lose this game. But man, I do not. I think it's very wish-casty to hope. I just don't think. I don't think Cincinnati can hang right now with Baltimore. I really don't.
Offensively, they absolutely can. Baltimore's defense is not good.
Yeah,
and even if Joe Flacco were starting, I would still like Cincinnati to score at least 3 touchdowns here.
The other thing too,
I don't agree that their I don't disagree that their defense is trash, but I also think if you think Baltimore just runs it up and just beats the brakes off of them, I don't think this is a let's showcase aging Derrick Henry 2 years away from retirement game. I think this is a let's show off Lamar Jackson and remind people who is him, and you see him just like air it out. And Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely and Zay Flowers like all get there.
The other thing too that people forget, and I'll go quickly here because we got to get to wide receiver, and I know Hess has to go. The other thing too, when we look at in the past, and we're like, oh yeah, because I know in our Discord somebody just posted that Jahmyr Gibbs has been kind of held in check by Green Bay. Last year, Joe Burrow threw for over 800 yards and 9 touchdowns in 2 games against this defense. So like, let's keep that in mind too. Getting Joe Burrow back versus Joe Flacco is a major fucking difference. And if we think he's hobbled, sure, maybe. But, like, I don't know. I think I'm willing to bet on his talent a little bit here, and that defense is atrocious. Those are just my thoughts, but just throwing that out there. All right, wide receiver now. All right, Hess, we're going to start with you. Go for it.
Yeah, I'm just going to hit a couple of quick pass catchers. Have to go after a couple tight ends as well. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Cool. So a weird thought that I was going to talk about with tight end, and it's funny because I think Tribe just talked about it, is I kind of like Lamar at both tight ends, Likely and Andrews. I think it's like really interesting. I have them as the top 2 plays in Baltimore and then Flowers. So like I think that's just like a really interesting thought. A couple of quick things. I really like Xavier Worthy, maybe a little bit more than Rashee Rice, mostly because of depth of target. And Brian knows this as we talk about it, but I love taking shots on guys that can get there in one play. And so, like, as like a one-off, I really like Worthy. I really like Christian Watson for the same reason. And then I also really like Jake Ferguson for the Cowboys. So those are kind of like a couple of the less obvious guys. I mean, on a 3-game slate, they're not really like, sub 5% guys, but a couple of like the less obvious guys on those teams that I think I'm really going to target outside of the double tight end on Baltimore Stacks.
Awesome. All right. What about you, Tribe? What do you do, wide receiver?
It's good seeing you guys. I'm gonna hop.
You too, Hess. Be good.
Happy Thanksgiving,
Happy Thanksgiving, man.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys.
Yeah. So receiver, like this is what I'm saying, right? With Jamar Chase, like top receiver on the slate, in my opinion. But there's between Rashee Rice, Amon-Ra, CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, all 4 of those guys can match Chase. Like, and I wouldn't be shocked. So I don't feel as much of a need to like lock him in necessarily. Like this is one where I'm going to be leaning on my stacks. And I know we're talking about receiver, but just from like a roster construction standpoint, I think one of the major mistakes people make on the Thanksgiving Day slates and on when we get to the playoffs is trying to build optimal lineups and not leaning into like heavily stacking and overstacking on these slates. So a lot of this is going to be dictated by just who am I stacking, right? I like Xavier Worthy, same as Hess, right? And that's one where like I will absolutely play like Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, Mahomes with that double. You can essentially do that for every quarterback on this slate, outside of like Burrow, because I don't really want to touch the secondary receivers on the Bengals, right? But you got Lamb and Pickens, you got Jameson and Amon-Ra. So, I think all of those guys are in play. Jason, we've talked about this on the bakery. I don't love wide receiver 2s necessarily as one-offs, but on a 3-game slate, right? You gotta make some choices and make some exceptions to how you would approach like a main slate. So in that regard, like I'm fine with Xavier Worthy, Jameson Williams, to get him as a one-off. I don't hate that. Christian Watson, like I'm probably living in that cheap range, to be honest. And just going multiple cheap guys with one spend up as opposed to trying to jam in like 2 of these stud receivers.
That makes sense. Pablo, what are you going to do at wide receiver?
Yeah, I'm actually pretty similar to Tribe here. I really like that whole range of Rice, Pickens, Lamb, Flowers. I'm pretty into that Dallas KC game, and I want to try to stack it up in a variety of ways. I think if you don't play Chase and Gibbs, then you're going to be pretty different roster construction wise. You're going to have a much more balanced build than teams playing one or both those guys. So I really like any combination of those guys. I think Lamb. It's interesting that they're priced $100 apart between Pickens and Lamb. I think for people who don't use Dak and use both those guys, they're going to be picking between those guys. And I think Pickens, because he's $100 cheaper, will be, and his recent usage, even with a little bit of a gimpy, I think an ankle, he's still going to come in like a lot more owned than Lamb, I would predict, because of his recent usage and outcomes. A few people have said Watson is a nice play at 4,700. He's got big downfield potential, and he can kind of catch. He can get there in 2 passes, right? I feel similarly to JMO. I think JMO is he's got that breakout potential. He dudded last week for 0, and I think I wouldn't be surprised to see Dan Campbell try to target him a little bit more to get him back in the game. And then the last guy that I think it was I don't remember if it was Ryan or who said it, but I am also a little more into Xavier Worthy than other people are. He's been getting a decent amount of usage. They've been using him like end arounds. He's like, I totally get it that Rice is Rice, but I just feel like I think between Watson, JMO, and Worthy, like those 3 guys between 45 to 4,700, I'd be very unsurprised if one of those guys isn't on most winning lineups. They all have upside at a pretty low cost on a slate where I really do want to spend a little bit of money on my quarterback and running backs. So that's kind of where I'm living. And that's why I'm not in it. You guys heard my thoughts on the Bengals. Like this is why I'm a small field player, and Kiki and James are large field players. Like I'm going to be like mostly fading the Bengals almost entirely, outside of probably some Gesicki tight end flex spot usage, and maybe some Chase Brown, just because I think even in a game that I think Baltimore kills them, he'll get a lot of usage.
Makes sense. What about you, Nick? What are you doing at wide receiver?
Well, okay, so first of all, I'm not touching Xavier Worthy with a 10-foot pole. Like 25 to 30% ownership for the third option on a team at 4,700. When I can, play any number of other guys, like it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Like I would rather play Romeo Dobbs at 18 to 20%, and maybe he catches 2 7-yard touchdowns, and everybody throws their phones. Everybody who played Christian Watson gets incredibly upset because he got a 45-yard catch and then Dobbs got a short touchdown. Like I would much rather do that. Again, like I said, I like to be honest, it's kind of a stupid fundamental play, but yeah, I like these really cheap Bengals guys. Like you can throw Yoshi in there too, like fine, but the appeal of these really cheap Bengals guys are that they're free.
Yeah.
Like that's the appeal, is that they're free, and there's a lot of stuff to jam in on this slate. I mean, granted, I like the cheap tight ends much better than I like the cheap receivers, but again, that's why the cheap tight ends have a bunch of ownership, and these dirt cheap receivers have none. A couple other guys that are dirt cheap. Rashad Bateman, I think, is a pretty interesting play, and I don't think anybody's going to play Turpin, and that's just kind of another interesting, like 2% flyer. But as far as the more expensive guys, I think it's a small slate. I would say don't be afraid to play Dak and Pickens and not play Lamb and Pickens and not play Prescott. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think you have to.
That makes sense.
I mean, and also, and I don't think anybody's going to do that either. So, those are, the Lions guys kind of are what they are. Cut to the Dennis Green clip. They are who we thought they were. But
I think one thing that's interesting that Kiki's talking about a little bit, just I got to get like my game theory hat on for 1 second, is that for small field, I feel like you're trying to get creative around the plays most people are using. And I think for large field, you're trying to play guys that nobody else is playing. And I think those are two different things, right? Like I'm not playing any of the Cincinnati no names in like a 400-man single entry, right?
No.
But like in like a Millie Maker or like in in 150 max on a 3-gamer, fuck yeah, of course you got to play those guys. Like if you don't have like the no-name Bengals guy who catches a touchdown, you're probably dead in the Millie Maker, right? So I think it's a lot of this is contest dependent, and I think you sort of have to decide, like, are you playing somebody nobody else is playing, or are you playing people other people are playing in a different way?
Yeah, and I guess to wrap it up, my point is kind of that, like, there are these guys like Christian Watson and Jameson Williams, and like what they're going to get, maybe 5 or 6 targets, something like that. Like, there are other guys for cheaper that will have a chance in the right game script to get a similar amount of targets. So I think my strategy is I'm just not going to overpay for Watson or Jameson Williams or Xavier Worthy. I'm just going to play somebody cheaper.
That makes sense. What about you, Ryan? What are you going to do at wide receiver?
I think some of the points you just made, Nick, were really interesting about, I think, summarizing it, some of the fragility in that range. And I was thinking, if I built a Chiefs lineup, which I don't plan on doing at this point, I think that's where I would be exploring, like, where I can mix in Tinsley to what kind of lineup I'm building and what kind of leverage that I need. One of the things that popped out to me, I mean, I think I'm really interested in Watson and Dobbs in the mid-range, but, I think to Nick's point, like, they have a higher floor, like the targets are there. I mean, the past couple of weeks are getting 20 and 30%, but that offense has also gone pretty conservative and been running the ball a lot. So they're not as explosive. And then I think you weigh that with plays like Worthy and JMO have a wider range of outcomes. You could have 0 or you could have 20 from some of those guys. They have a lot of air yards typically. Williams not as much the past couple of weeks, but we're trying to win. If you're in a large field contest and we're trying to win big prizes, making sure that your lineup has some of that ceiling. And I think as I was naturally sort of drawn to Watson and Dobbs, just speaks to a little bit of like loss aversion. And so if I'm afraid of losing my entries because I don't want to get a 0 from Worthy, I think other players tomorrow are going to be doing that too. And so, if I'm playing larger field, or, I need to consider what that upside would be from some of those other players. I think the other thing that just stood out to me, I mean, I don't know if Flowers is really going to have 35% ownership, but he has been so underwhelming in the 6 range. Yeah, I didn't think so, Nick, but he is the white meat and mashed potatoes of tomorrow.
Yeah, he is.
He is missionary. Zay Flowers is just so unexciting. And the Sims reflect that too. He has the worst edge at any of the wide receivers, and he's just very mid.
Yeah, I do agree, and I'll make this quick for wide receivers. I kind of lean, like, if you're telling me a gun to my head, do I have to play Jahmyr Gibbs or Jamar Chase? I'm probably still going to play Jahmyr Gibbs just because I think raw points are going to be so astronomically important here. Like, if he catches 7-8 balls out of the backfield, like, it's going to be very hard for him to not have a chance to be there. So as I'm spending up, I'm looking at these. I think you can make some really interesting pivots. The Pickens Lamb conversation, I totally agree. You could play both too without Dak. The one guy that's really piquing my interest though as a punt play here is and Tribe's gonna fucking puke when I say this, but that's okay. He's used to my antics. Is this Flournoy character on Dallas? Kansas City plays a lot of man. They mix it in a little bit more zone here, but they do. Yep, Flournoy, whatever the fuck his name is. It's funny. I had a high school basketball teammate with the last name Flournoy, and I still can't pronounce it. Call me.
Are you saying fluoride?
Flournoy.
That's what I was. I knew it, but I just kept thinking fluoride.
I've used him in a couple of showdowns, but otherwise I wouldn't know who he is.
So the reason why I'm talking about him, this is totally like an I know ball take. This is not he's a good player or anything else. If they start playing a ton of man-to-man, this guy's like a burner. Like that's why he's out there. He's not out there to be a possession receiver. He is out there to take a top off a defense and be a vertical threat. As Hess said, like it only takes one play. I think there's a chance that he could make a lot of things work. But outside of that, I don't really have any different thoughts outside of like maybe you pivot off of Worthy for Hollywood Brown, or you try to do something like that. But I basically agree with everybody else's takes. I just wanted to throw him out there because if they see a lot of man tomorrow, they might take one or two deep shots at him. I'm just saying.
I'm gonna call it one more guy very, very quickly. Dontavian Wicks.
Man beater.
That if people want to play Watson because he's going to take they're going to take deep shots. This is the same logic.
Yep, I agree. And Pablo, did you give your thoughts on wide receivers?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Let's move to tight end. I wanna say something about tight end real quick. Two things. Number one, if you sort our range of outcomes by 2x or 3x, and you include receiver and running back, apropos of the entire fucking year with DraftKings, whose algorithm broke this year for pricing, tight end remains stupidly priced. If you sort it by 3x, you will see that the majority of players, especially the guys under 4,800 or so, are all tight ends. We have for a 3-gamer, we have at the high end we have Kelsey, but we also have Andrews, Likely, Gesicki, Ferguson, and we even have people like Brock Wright. The last point is I was going to wait till
Brock Wright is out, by the way.
Oh, he's out. Oh, man, that kills my superlative. Fuck. All right. Well, my superlative, I worked on this morning, and I was going to tell I'm still using it. And because it's actually somewhat ironic he's out, because he is the award winner for today's Nikki Diesel Memorial Narrative Play of the Day. Brock Wright. It's his birthday tomorrow. It's Brock Wright's birthday tomorrow.
How is the field overlooking that?
Well, I didn't realize Brock Wright is I don't work on my birthday kind of guy, but I guess
he's out. He was out. He was not out this morning. Is that official?
Yeah, he got ruled out like at 4:15 this afternoon.
Okay. Well, too bad. Nikki Diesel's also out of Paydirt, but he shoved Gordy into a locker one too many times and berated my child as well. But it's too bad. But anyway, the point here is that I actually really like double tight end plays this week. I'm okay with basically all of those tight ends. To the points made before, I just think Andrews and Likely this year. Fucking, I'm not a DVP guy. Like I'm not. I don't usually even look at DVP, but Bengals are just getting burned every single game against tight ends. They cannot cover tight ends. I think Andrews, Likely, even both of them are fine. I think if you're playing Mahomes, I think it's fine to use Travis. I think Gesicki is a fine punt on a slate that's a 3-gamer where we're looking for somebody who has a lot of usage. I think Ferguson will actually be under-owned because he's kind of priced in a way that I just think he's going to be squeezed. And I think he's going to be the one guy in that game people don't really play very much. Everybody will play the Dallas receivers. Some people will play Javonte. A bunch of people play Kansas City receivers. I don't think that many people play Ferguson. So I think for a 3-gamer, he'll be relatively under-owned. But anyway, I think it's a fine slate for these tight ends, and I wouldn't go outside those main guys if I was doing it.
That makes sense. I'm just going to go quick because I'm going to keep it very simple at tight end for everybody. Double tight end builds for me. If I'm running 150, I'm probably having like 140 of them as double tight ends. They're just so much better than these cheap receivers. And my favorite guy, and I might give him out later again. I want to just give a shout out to Isaiah Likely here. So this guy, Lamar Jackson, throws to the slot at a top 5 rate in the NFL. He has over the last few years. He's their leading slot receiver, and they play a lot of 2 tight end sets. He's just so dirt cheap, man. It's like if he goes like 3 for 30 and like finds the box, like you're just that much far ahead if you get him right. So I just wanted to shout that out. But Tribe, what are you going to do at tight end?
So I actually think Mark Andrews and Travis Kelce are the 2 easiest pivots on the entire slate. You're playing Mark Andrews or Isaiah Likely for that matter. You're playing them because you think they're going to get what you just said, 3 for 30, and they get in the end zone. Like if you play them expecting them to get anything other than that stat line, they're not.
Yeah.
Like there's no evidence whatsoever this entire year that they're going to get peppered with targets. So if all you need is 3 for 30 and you hope they get in the box, there are 2 pivots on Baltimore who get used very similar to both of them in Rashad Bateman and DeAndre Hopkins, who are going to be single-digit owned. And I actually somewhat disagree. Like, I think you could do that in small field because I think you can just build the entire chalk lineup. And instead of playing Mark Andrews, you just play Rashad Bateman or DeAndre Hopkins, and that's your single piece. That's your single point of leverage. And then for Travis Kelce, like, Jake Ferguson has just been better straight up this entire season. So if Travis Kelce is going to be 22% or whatever, and Jake Ferguson is going to be sub 10% owned, and I'm spending up at tight, like, why would I not just play Jake Ferguson?
Yeah, I agree. And schematically, it's actually a pretty good spot. He's been good against man, and he crushes. He's been Dak's like go-to against zone coverage also. So I kind of like that as a pivot. Let's go to you, Nick. What are you thinking?
Okay, so I'll just kind of echo what everybody else said. I would much rather play Travis Kelce than Xavier Worthy. And I would rather play Travis Kelce than any of these like Xavier Worthy or Romeo Dobbs or Christian Watson or any of these guys in the 4Ks. Like I would just play him. That said, I think Andrews and Likely aren't bad plays. I think we have Likely at 15%. I think he could pretty easily be higher than that. But I don't. Oh yeah, okay. I mean, I'm just looking at some of the other projections across the industry, and like, I start to get. I'm a little bit queasy on once we get to 20% on Isaiah Likely.
Yeah, I mean,
is that what you're seeing, Nick? Are you seeing some 20s out there?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought he would be lower because of the amount that's going to Andrews, and people aren't going to play together.
Ferguson is the guy getting squeezed.
Yeah.
Well,
that's
like
all the ownership is Andrews, Travis, Gesicki, Likely, and then after that it's nobody.
And
those 4 guys.
I mean, I think all the chalk guys are fine. Ferguson looks great. The one thing I do want to just postulate, it seems like it would be possible with T. Higgins out and this year their season being on the line, that the Bengals may just decide that, okay, we're not going to run any 3 receiver sets. We're just going to run 2 tight end, and we're going to put an extra blocker out there. And we're gonna have our guys chip off the line, and that's how we're gonna operate and keep Joe Burrow upright. So when you use that theory, I do think that look, if Noah Fant is going to be 1 or 2% owned, I will take some shots on him. Like that, he's kind of in that same Mitchell Tinsley, Rashad Bateman, like all that kind of realm. The $5 Millie Maker realm. But I don't have any major revelatory thoughts on tight end, although I will scale back to wide receiver for one quick second. It sounds like Tesla is questionable, and with Wright and Raymond both out, if he is also out, that changes my outlook on the Detroit passing game.
Gotcha.
Because they are getting thin.
Yeah, they are. They're gonna have to really concentrate. All right, Ryan. What about
you? They're promoting Anthony Ferkser from the practice squad apparently.
Tennessee Titan, great.
Yeah.
Who do you think that helps, Nick? If Tesla and Raymond are out?
It's probably just more Amon-Ra and Gibbs.
Yeah,
I would guess.
I think it's similar to the last game where they could possibly both get double-digit targets.
Yeah, and that's just more reinforcement to me being like, I think Gibbs is a really strong play. And the last thing I'll say on that scenario is if that happens, I do think you can play Jacobs with Gibbs, and I don't think people will.
Nick, it's also possible one way to play this slate a little bit differently, and I think you alluded to it at the beginning, is it's also possible Green Bay at home, just like with a thin Detroit team now missing a bunch of guys, they just play a slow game. They keep Detroit under control, and Jacobs, they win like 21-13, and Jacobs gets 2 touchdowns, and everybody who faded the early game is happy. A, because of game theory, you can late swap, and B, because all you really needed from that game was Jacobs. I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't hate just saying that game underperforms. And it's not a crazy way to play it.
I think to close, I'll say, I think that is one of the clearest paths to winning. And also on Thanksgiving slates, early game, always overowned.
Because everybody loves the early screenshots. Also,
in large field tournaments, early game always overowned.
Yeah. That game is in Detroit, Pablo.
But I my bad. I interrupted Ryan. My bad.
No, I'm good. A lot of what was already covered, but Ferguson, I'm really interested in at lower ownership. The last 4 weeks, fantasy points against Kansas City defense is right up there. I like, if people are going to condense on Likely and Andrews, I like flipping that and going with the more expensive tight end. So I'll have some with my Dak stack, my Cowboy stack, but I think I might play them separate too. I could see a scenario where several of my lineups have Ferguson, and that's going to differentiate those. It's going to come with some risk, so I'm not going to go all out, but I think paying up at tight end and you get 1 or 2 touchdowns from Ferguson would be really cool. Would be a good way to approach getting some leverage there. I just think I think we might be overrating. I mean, I know the median projection on Andrews is solid, but I think we might be overrating how great that's going to be. There's a range of outcomes there, and if 40% of the field has the cheap tight end that misses, I'd like to be on the other side.
Or 55 or 50-55% of the field has a Ravens tight end in their lineup.
Yeah, for sure. It'll be at least half the field. I mean, Nick, to your point and Tribe's point, which Ryan is sort of alluding to, it is a matchup play that's steaming. It's a matchup play combined with ownership that's steaming ownership, right? Combined with pricing that's steaming ownership. That Andrews and Likely are both so cheap, where you need relief when you don't have comfortable wide receiver relief plays, right? So for large field, I think just saying, instead of getting my relief at tight end, I'm going to get my relief at receiver. And that's how I'm going to get different for large field. I think it's a fair point to say that the field is overrating the matchup against Cincinnati and the pricing of these guys to an ownership that's inefficiently high. Right. I think for my stuff, I will still eat one of them. But I think it's a pretty sharp way to approach it for larger field to say, I'm going to just get up to Kelsey or to Fergie and get my savings at with Burrow and or some cheap receivers.
Or Green Bay stack,
Yeah.
Could be.
Jim, how about you?
Oh, I gave mine earlier.
Oh, okay, my bad.
No. You're good. You're good. All right.
I don't know that we need to keep. I don't know that we need to talk about defense. I mean, I'll just say that the one thing about defense on this slate is that Baltimore looks like the heavy chalk defense. Everybody, Nick and I were joking before the slate talk about how he's got an advantage in hockey and that he has me being the sort of square play on every slate for hockey, and I know everyone's going to play Baltimore, A, because I looked at ownership, and B, because they're the most comfortable click against a team in Cincinnati that's just gotten smoked by a lot of teams.
I don't think. Go ahead.
Sorry, my bad. Go ahead.
I don't think playing a Bengals stack precludes you from playing the Baltimore defense, though.
Agreed. It can actually probably help the chances of Joe Burrow getting there.
Yeah.
More and more. And honestly, with defenses too, I know Pablo said in the intro, like, don't worry about fading a certain defense or anything. It's crazy that the defense facing Joe Burrow is probably going to be the chalkiest when there's Jared Goff and Jordan Love on this fucking slate. And then also Dak Prescott against like a half decent defense on this slate. So yeah, like, don't even worry about it.
Yeah.
Just play whoever fits. But I do think that there's some truth to like playing the Ravens in a Bengals stack in hopes that maybe you get a little bit of magic. There's like a pick six to start the game or a strip sack, fumble, touchdown, something like that. But honestly, I just play whoever fits.
Yeah. I would not play Derrick Henry, the Ravens defense, and a Bengals stack, though.
Oh, me neither.
No.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Yeah.
So now for our superlatives. So,
Yeah.
Pablo.
Well, we already talked about the Nicky Diesel one. All right. So we're gonna do two superlatives I want everyone to give.
I
And
need
then we're
to
gonna
chat GPT what a superlative is.
Dude, fucking Google it, bro. Are you serious? You don't know what a
Do they not do
superlative
that
is?
anymore when people graduate high school? Like most likely.
Yeah, it was
to be
like most
president or
likely to
else?
whatever.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
after the stream, Ryan's gonna win most likely to get an HR violation. That's probably what's
Yeah.
gonna happen next.
So two. We already did the Nicky Diesel Memorial Narrative play, which is Brock Wright, who's unfortunately not playing, whose birthday it is tomorrow. So two things I want everyone to comment on. Number one, they're lit, which is capital L, lowercase I, capital T. For those of you who don't know lit, you can go back to our lore channel and look at his brief time with us. Really came in guns blazing. One of the hardest times I've ever laughed looking at anything.
Nick has to go research that one. I don't think Nick was here for that.
Okay,
No, I wasn't.
Number one is the hashtag RIP lit big brain play. Like, who's your big brain play for the slate? And the second one is your Gordy Lamb off the wall Julian Hill punt play. So for those of you who don't know, Gordy loves his second or third string tight end, usually underpriced. One day it's gonna get him there on a showdown slate, and he's always got a lineup with him. So I don't know who wants to start, but give us your big brain play and give us your off the wall punt play.
Nick, we'll start with you. You go first.
Oh, me? Okay. I mean, there's such a thin line between those two things for me. I really just have to look at projections.
They're the same thing for you.
They are. I mean, I think I'll say like I think my big brain play is play Josh Jacobs or don't, but other than that, fade the first game.
Okay.
Or if I have to give a player,
no, that's fine. You can do a theme. You can do an approach.
Yeah, and then my off the wall punt play is play somebody ridiculous from the Bengals, like Noah Fant or Mitchell Tinsley or Charlie Jones or one of these clowns. Play one of those guys.
Mitchell Tinsley. Jeez. All right, Ryan. What about you?
So my big brain play that is likely going to end poorly, but we're talking about variance with defense. I was thinking earlier I would play the Dallas defense if everyone's going to play the Chiefs stacks. They got a little bit better at the trade deadline. They've had some players come back. You got Trayvon Diggs, I think his name is, Stefan's brother, the ball hawk, in the secondary. So if I'm not going to play the Chiefs stack, why don't I play against them and get the leverage? That's a big brain play. I'm not sure is using my brain, but that's what I've been thinking about. I I think Tribe mentioned it too, but like my off the wall play is Dusty DeAndre Hopkins, just working his way back into the end zone. He's getting some end zone targets. He's got a little work the past couple weeks. Not exactly a speed demon anymore, but he's projecting great on Paydirt at whatever he's at, 3,300. So I'm interested in a little bit of Hopkins.
Love it. Love it. All right, Tribe, what about you?
All right. RIP Lit, my big brain play.
Oh, Lit. Oh, God.
Did Lit use the fire emoji all over his messages?
Yeah.
He
Okay.
only lasted like 25 minutes, but it was a glorious 25 minutes.
Possibly the highest ROI in Paydirt history, if I remember.
It was amazing. It was a really amazing moment.
Baltimore defense isn't good, and Joe Burrow makes a difference. And just like Cincinnati overstacks with Burrow, Chase, Gesicki, and they score like 30 plus points here against the Ravens. As far as off the wall, Ryan already took DeAndre Hopkins, but I'll give you two other guys from the Ravens who it's the exact same concept. Rashad Bateman and or Charlie Kolar doing what people think likely and or Andrews is going to do.
Okay. I like that.
Touché.
What about you, Pablo? What are you thinking?
Well, I'm going to combine them. Nick sort of took mine. My big brain play is to mostly fade the first game. I really like the Jacobs call. I think it's one way to play that game in a way that would suppress most other things from happening potentially. I will likely not have any of the off the wall plays because of what I play and how I play. But if I did, it would probably be, I really like the Bateman call and I like the Tavian Wicks call. I think that you're looking, I think the cheap receivers in general are going to be underowned because everyone's going to be playing the cheap tight ends. People like everyone's going to get their savings through Gesicki or Andrews or Likely. Like that's where everyone's going to play their cheap play. And that's why those guys are going to be owned so much. So if you just pay up a tight end and you get your receiver savings to get whoever else you want, that's just like, I think that's a way to play larger field. That's going to be pretty different. If you just play like a bunch of variations of those guys, like Bateman, Wicks, Hopkins, the people Nick talked about that I've never heard of on the Cincinnati Bengals. I think you will get all those people at such fractional ownership relative to the tight ends that, you know, if those tight ends just don't get there, you're in a pretty good spot if you've got the right guy who does at the receiver end.
Yep. 1% Noah Fant projected for less than 1%, and he actually is kind of good, by the way.
Oh boy, this is gonna be tough to follow. All right, I'm gonna give you guys my big brain play of the week. I call me crazy. I just kind of, after hearing everybody talk about him a little bit, like I kind of think we may just be overthinking it. Big brain play. I'm gonna go right to Travis Kelce. I think Mr. Swift is just like you could pencil him in for 5 for 50. He's gonna go 5 for 50 or can go 9 for 90. It's just if he falls in the box, he falls in the box. So that's gonna be my big brain play by not using it and just like Occam's razoring that shit. That's what I'm gonna do there. And my Gordy off the wall Julian Hill punt play is actually gonna be another tight end, and it's gonna be one that we didn't discuss. I'm gonna go to my man Fitzpatrick on the Green Bay Packers. Musgrave is everybody thought Musgrave was going to be like the chalk du jour when Tucker Kraft went out, and Fitzpatrick has been running more routes. He's been getting a little bit more targets, and I just think that you could do worse than one of the only two tight ends you could throw the ball to. So I'm gonna maybe have some shares of that guy, especially too when you look at the pricing with him and like Isaiah Likely. I kind of think it's. If Isaiah, that could be a leverage point in large field. If Isaiah Likely ends up being 20% owned, you don't have to change your roster construction at all.
All right, two. We all went there, right? We all went. Two final things. Everybody, give us your. What are you thankful for? DFS related. What are you thankful for this year? DFS related. And if you could only pick one player that you had to have in every one of your lineups for this slate, Who is that player? I don't know who wants to start.
I'll start because that's an easy answer for me. Thankful for DFS wise.
Yep.
Uh,
And an additional bonus if it's spicy.
That's not spicy. I'm actually thankful for The Sims because it has greatly condensed chalk and made finding leverage points significantly easier, in my opinion. So I'm thankful for that, of everybody just blindly following what it spits out. One player, Jahmyr Gibbs.
Strong. That's strong. All right, Ryan, what about you?
The one player, if I had to just take one player, put him under my arm and carry him over to Thanksgiving dinner, plop him down on the table to win all the slates, is Jake Ferguson. And I hate the Cowboys, but I think he's maybe one of the most important parts of the slate for my strategy. So Ferguson. And I might include this in like kind of like a prayer, like grace before dinner tomorrow is, and I'll have to explain to my in-laws what the portfolio manager is, but I really just like mixing ownership with projection, with rules that allow me to build how I want to. So this year I'm grateful for the portfolio manager at Paydirt.
I love it. That sounds like the greatest cocktail I've ever had. Just throwing that out there. All right, Nick, what about you? Yeah. Oh, hey, no cocktail. You said, Vic, everything, mixed together. I'm just saying, throwing it out. Gotcha. All right, Nick, what about you?
I guess I'm grateful to be providing content for the Paydirt family. It's been a lot of fun. And my I guess this is kind of a boring one, but if I had to have, I guess, one play in every one of my lineups, probably Jamar Chase. And if you want to make it less boring, go with Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow stacks.
Oh, spicy. I like it. All right, I'll go, and then Pablo, you could cap us off here. What I'm really thankful for the most, honestly, is I'm gonna give it to DFS Twitter, because I love all these like fake tough people talking shit with each other all the time, and I love these people complaining about a 4K center 80% owned. He did so well. The fish always win. Like. Yeah, like I love that. I love that stuff. So I'm really thankful for that. I get a really good kick out of it. And the player tomorrow that if I could just play in every lineup, I'm gonna go with. You know what? Fuck it. We're gonna go with our guy Travis Kelce. I think he smashes. Just throwing that out there. Very vanilla of me, but that's okay. All right, Pablo. What about you?
All right. So my two. What I'm grateful for, and of the irony of ironies, is that fucking FanDuel saved my NFL season. I mean, DraftKings has fucked up their algorithm so bad this year that they became FanDuel. And FanDuel, by just keeping the shit the same and slightly making their pricing a little bit better, has actually become the better game theory site to play on. And a lot of the sharp people refuse to play there because LOL FanDuel, which makes it a little softer. So I nobody cares what I say, so I'm not worried about driving sharps over there. But I am thankful for FanDuel this year for saving my NFL season, because I have not enjoyed the loose pricing of DraftKings. I have felt it to be much more of a lottery than it's been in years past. One player for tomorrow. It is such a square play, but I am so across you guys on the Bengals game that I would be remiss if I did not pick King Henry. I think this is the one game we finally get the King Henry smash. I think King Henry goes for 200, two touchdowns, maybe 3. I just think the Bengals are trash. And
I got to tell you, like that's not even missionary. That's like an over the pants hand job. That's what that is.
I know. It's just a dream. It's a wet dream. It's not even an actual thing.
That's dry humping. It's a dry dream.
Dry humping.
That is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's who I'm likely not going to fade anywhere. I just Henry hasn't, but he's been so slow. I mean, my hope is that people who have watched the games similar to us also agree that he'll be very owned, but hopefully the fact that he's looked pretty bad this year will keep him a little less owned than he otherwise would be. But That's who I'm locking in.
Don't hold your breath.
No, he's gonna be 50-60%. Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Any final thoughts or questions? I think we don't have a whole lot of questions, but did anybody who has thoughts or questions before we call it?
No, I mean, just looking at some of our chat here that we have. Yeah, I mean, we just got some people. I mean, that's kind of funny. Is that Tribe's corporate voice, Tribe, when you were doing that little, voice thing you were doing? So,
yes, that is 100% the voice. If you've ever seen like "Sorry to Bother You," yes, that's the voice.
Oh, is it a good slate to late swap? Andy, absolutely. If you are not trying to actively late swap tomorrow, you are losing money and throwing it away. There is enough time. You can sneak away from, to the bathroom, whatever you got to do. You got a toilet swap. I know Stubbs in our Discord, he's world famous for that. He's going to talk about it all day tomorrow. You absolutely should be trying to swap your lineups, especially if you feel like you're dead or you feel like you could stay where you are and only need a little bit more to get you to the top. Definitely swap. Any other questions?
All right. Well, listen, I hope everyone enjoys their Thanksgiving. We've got plenty you can chase. If you're not doing well after the first game, you can chase the late 2-gamer. You can chase Showdown. We get the Friday Showdown, Black Friday game. We've got, obviously, Sunday's main slate. Since James is not here, I will just say, for anyone listening who's not already part of our community, I highly suggest you join us. It is easily the best value in the industry, so much so that I've actually argued with James that he should increase pricing a little bit. That's how good a value I think it is. You can basically get any sport with simulations with something called a portfolio manager that's given people who are very sharp a very good edge in terms of managing their lineups. And maybe most importantly, a bunch of fun people in the Discord. We all hang out, we discuss slates, and it's a lot of fun. So if nothing else, join us for a few days, join us for a week, check it out, and we'll keep rolling.
You got
it. That is paydirtdfs.com because Pablo is old and doesn't know how the internet works. Paydirtdfs.com. Come check us out.
And also one last shameless plug here, just the rest of the content schedule for this week. Nick, I don't know about the NHL schedule, but Nick puts out articles almost every night when there's a slate that's worthwhile playing. So definitely come check us out. You can find Ryan and Hess on their DFS Slate of Mind pod that's going to be coming out most likely this Friday. You're going to have Tribe and I also recording this Friday for the bakery where we cover the main slate going position by position. And then Saturday, it's funny. This is like Pablo, I got to just say, I think people are talking shit on you for the wrong reason. They should be talking shit on James. What's he going to be doing this show from? Like a loft in Missouri somewhere? Is he going to be at like some mini mansion? I don't know, but you can check
out my boat.
He's on
your
boat?
They don't have lofts and they don't have lofts in Missouri. Like they don't have that much concrete.
I mean, maybe, I don't know.
Luxury cabin, just furs everywhere, massive antlers on the wall. James having a brandy by the fire.
Yeah, James is gonna have like just deer heads all around him.
No,
he's gonna have a nice sweater on.
James will be drinking from one of those big jugs with just 3 X's on it.
100%. And you'll be able to check out James and Pablo on the Slate Talk. We'll see whatever time Pablo gets off his yacht where they can record that. Might be 2 p.m., might be 11 p.m. You never really know with them. But thank you guys for tuning in. Best of luck, and let's go get some trophies tomorrow.
Let's get it.
Peace.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Ooh.